Hi my loves, how's it going? How you guys doing? Welcome if you're new, welcome back. If you've seen me before, it's time for a project plan update. I feel like I need to just make a few disclaimers because I don't know if I've ever actually truly given the rules for my project plan before. I have been project planning since 2020, but this year I decided to just do a consistent like rolling project plan, meaning there's no like end time frame for it, because I found that whenever I used to do like a yearly project plan, it made me feel really stressed with getting things done within a year, and I really don't like that feeling, whereas project planning should be fun. And I used to make it really stressful on myself with those self-imposed timeframes. I decided that it's just going to be rolling style, and that means that there's no end date. So if I wanted to plan for the next 5 years, that's fine, but if I only wanted to plan to the end of 2027 and then stop planning because I hate it so much, then I am also able to do that. But I decided that this is just going to be a rolling style project plan, and yeah, that's the main thing. And the other thing is I decided to have 15 products per every update, but I can drop it down to 10 if I feel like all my other project plans are making it like too complicated for me. I think for the time being though, I'm okay with it being 15. So majority of the times you'll see consistent 15 items in here, and they'll either be here for usage purposes or they'll be here to completely use up. Preferably I would like to roll things in here that I want to use up completely, because I think I have a preference for that, just because I do want to like get things moved out of my inventory, and I think having it in this particular project plan will be very useful. So I feel like I just need to kind of say that in case I've not really said it beforehand. But and also the other thing is, just for today, you'll have to ignore the stickers I have on my face. I'm having a lot of breakouts. I haven't slept last night. I'm really delirious, and I had these spots on beforehand, so we're just gonna ignore that and let's actually get into the update. Every project plan video I always show my empties first, because I feel like it's a nice way just to kind of get that over and done with, and it's the exciting part of the update for me personally. Every month I've been fairly consistent with using makeup, and what I tend to do is focus on specific things that I want to like maybe use so that I can get more progress, or I can use things up. And I do have 3 empties for this month, and I will share them with you. I'll start with the easiest one, which was this lip oil. I've only had it in for 2 months, and I rolled this in April, and this actually took longer than I expected. The Dior lip oil isn't that bad, but I don't think it's my most favorite lip oil formula. It is just okay. The shine is alright, like it does last like a decent time frame, but I feel like there's nothing that spectacular about it for it to be the price point that it is. And understandably it is that price point because it's Dior, and it is like a I guess like a luxury brand. I guess it would kind of fall into that category of like makeup products. But yeah, this took me a while to use. I think I've had this since 2020, or no, sorry, 2022 or 2023. So it's definitely old in my collection, but it's not the oldest in my collection itself. And this took me a long time to use. One thing I will say though about this packaging is that the doe foot touches all the way to the bottom. Oh, there's a sticker there. I don't know if you can kind of see it through there, but it touches all the way to the bottom, and I've really loved that about this, because that means I did not need to take the stopper out, and I got use out of almost every last drop of this. There is like the tiniest tiny split left and the bottom, but it's pulled in a way that even with the doe foot touching the bottom, it's not coming out, and that's okay for me because I've used up everything else in here. It did take me longer than expected though, because I thought I'll have it done in like a couple of weeks, because I'm usually really good at planning like lip glosses and oils, but this took me longer than expected. But that being said, I don't think I'm gonna go back out and buy this again. If I was how I gifted it or given it in any capacity, I would use it, because it's like an okay product. It just, I don't feel like right now in my collection, with it being how big it is, I don't really think I want to make space for this product or fork out the money for it, because it's pricey and I have enough lip glosses to go through. So that's that one. I then finished another lip product, and it's the Kaleido's lip tonic, and I don't know if you guys will be able to see today, or maybe if I like hold it like that, if you can see like where there's so many windowing in here. Like I hope you can kind of see that better. It's come to a point where actually you cannot see. Is that better? I think that's probably better. That's basically what I've used up. I've gone through the entire tube, and I got out as much as I could physically get out. I've used this over the last several years, and I've had this since 2020, so obviously there was progress made on this product before I rolled into this project plan. Like I would still gravitate towards this, and I would like occasionally pull out, so there was definitely progress beforehand, but I also felt that this product didn't really show up on my lips that well, so I had to like add on a few layers for it to then show up on me, which is one thing that I found that there's certain products that, because of maybe the amount of white base or the type of formula or the color, because it doesn't show up, and I like to, depending on the look, like I might want more pigment or not, I then need to use more of the product. So I wasn't like purposely trying to use it up, but I did have to add on more if I wanted it to be seen. Otherwise it looked really weird, and I just realized now that I didn't add anything to my lips, but that's okay. This is now done. This was one of my oldest liquid lipsticks, and I mean, I think I've had it since like end of 2020, and if it's not 2020 then it's definitely 2021. So it is one of the oldest ones in my collection, and I'm really happy that this is done too, especially because last year I wasn't really panning many liquid lipsticks, and this year I'm glad that I've now done, at least I've gotten done with 2 of them, maybe 3, I can't remember, but I'm making strides in that category too, which is nice. And lastly, I have a flower nose product. This is a blush. I have been panning it for since the start of the year actually, and I didn't really use it beforehand except for maybe once or twice, and that's obviously not enough to make any progress then. But this is completely gone, and the reason this got done so quick isn't because I was using it every single day. It was more because there was so much white base in here. The color didn't translate on my skin tone like it did in the pan. So in order for it to show up on me and not look like it was just some kind of like powder on my face, I had to actually add a lot of powder, like the blush on, to pack it on to then actually give me any color payoff. And for that reason, like, I don't think I'll necessarily go back out and buy any flower nose blushes unless they really heavily stick out to me. But I might try their like cream blushes, because cream is a bit different to powder. But I did find that the powder blushes have so much white base in them that it's really hard for it to show up on my skin. Obviously it's not going to show up, if it's not showing up on my skin properly, how is it going to show up on somebody deeper skin tone than me? I will say though, I did get caught out on their cute packaging back in 2023, so I did end up buying a lot because of that reason. However, I did learn my lessons, and I'm glad I did finally learn, because I was going to end up buying more from them if I didn't do the snowbine, if I didn't start like using up the products. But I'm really glad that I'm not going to do that again. But honestly, the reason I flew through this is literally because the pigment was so little, like the actual color pigment of this wasn't really showing up on me that much, that I had to pack on in a lot of it for it to even show up on me, which is insane and ridiculous. And I know I do love like a heavy blush, but even then I couldn't really get like the full color of this showing up unless I packed on so much. But so it was ridiculous. But I'm also really glad they used this up. First thing in my vicinity is actually this blush here. This was the other one I rolled in right at the start with the other blush back in January, and I've actually made progress on here quite consistently. Last month I couldn't add a line in, but I've been able to do it this month, and I've realized there's actually an air bubble in here, and that's what I couldn't add a line in last month, because I've not actually used this much blush. It just is I was able to get most of the air bubble out. So if that wasn't in there, I would have been able to draw another line last month, but that's why I couldn't. I've been using this, and I do have a feeling that perhaps by the end of summer, so maybe like either end of August or September, this should be done, and that'd be fantastic, because I do have a duplicate of this, and that was by accident. I did not mean to buy a duplicate. I tend to not buy duplicates of blushes because it doesn't really make sense, considering one will last so freaking long. But I feel like this would be my first liquid blush that I get done, and I do really love this color as well, and I do pair it with the blushes in my Beauty A to Z project pan, so it does work out really well for me. I don't really use a liquid blush on its own because I feel like the pigment dissipates quite fast for me, and yeah, so I do try to just like always use it with something else so it can like last longer. It is a nice blush, I do like this, but I did have to take the actual, like, you know, these come with the sponge. I had to get rid of it because when you don't use this product, the liquid that's already on the sponge dries down, and then you end up wasting more product than you realize. So I took it off, and I just take this in the back of my hand, use my brush to spread it, like get it all over the brush, and then put it on my face, and it works really well. I've been making really consistent progress on this blush, so I'm hoping that in the next couple of months this should also be an empty. I guess let's just talk about my other products, especially things that are going to be in here for a long time. This is my Plan That Fit palette, and I decided to roll this in because I love the color story, and I've always wanted to go back to this palette, like after I tried to pan it like a couple of years ago, because I love like a cool tone mauvey look, and some of these shades translate beautifully in my eyes, and I really love it. But my initial goal was to pan the whole thing, and then I changed it to maybe using it 50 uses, because I think even getting used like 50 uses out of palette is actually quite a big amount of uses, and considering how many palettes I have, I don't think it makes sense for me to try and keep this in until I pan it properly or fully, because that means it will be in this product pan for the next 10 years and then some. So this, I now have 3 pans in here. So pan, I think that was already in there, and then these 2 happened or something like that, but I have 3 pans in here now. 2 pans came out of this project pan while I've had it rolled in, and since the start I've had 8 uses in total, but since last update I've had 3 new uses, which is actually really good because last month I don't think there was a single use on this palette. So I'm happy there's 3 uses, but I do feel like I do still tend to forget this. But I have also been focusing in some of the products in my Beauty A to Z project pan, and those are almost done now, so I should be able to roll them out, and that does mean I can bring my focus back into this palette. And that should mean that maybe not in June, but like maybe not July's update, but maybe August update, I will be able to come back and say I've had like more than 3 uses in an update. So I'm actually really looking forward to that. But there's not the greatest amount of progress in here, but at least there is something, so I know I'm still getting some level of use out of this. Another product since the start of the project was this eye pencil. This is from NYX and it's the Frosted Lilac one. I've been using this fairly consistently over the last 2-3 years, and this year I've been actually really focused on this one because it went really well with that palette. So whenever I use that palette, I always use this. And if there's any other like pastely sort of eyeshadows that I've ever done, I tend to use this one anyway because I feel like it just gels really nicely with the colours, and it's been really helpful because I have made progress. Every month there is progress on this item, but it is just slow progress, and you can kind of see like that's where I was at the start, and these have been the gradual lines of the last 7 months. So there has been progress made, and I'm happy with that. I just hope that by the end of the year or before the end of the year I can use it up, because it would be nice, and I don't think that this will be here for that long. I think maybe by October this could be done because it isn't that big, and I do tend to use this a lot anyway, and this tends to be the most used eye pencil regardless in my collection, so it kind of makes sense for this to be done before the end of the year. And it would just mean that I have 1 less eye pencil, and I am trying to get my inventory back down to as little as possible. I do love a colourful eye waterline. I don't think I'll ever stop doing that, but I do feel like I have way too many, and sometimes I have like duplicate colours. I don't think I have another one like this one though, but I do with some other colours I do have like duplicates, and I don't think that really makes sense for me to have. So it would be nice for me to get rid of all my, use up all my old stock, and then just kind of like slowly dwindle it down to like maybe a handful of shades that I have that I know that I'm going to use or will use quite often when I do certain looks. But yeah, I'm happy that there is quite consistent progress being made with this pencil. Another like long-term product in this project is this highlighter from Morphe, and I've had this since the start of the year, but I've been trying to pan this since 2025, like the start of 2025. This is where I'm at now. I hopefully haven't like shown you guys all the other pictures. There is progress, and there is like a dip, and there is like flattening going on here, but I feel like this is going to take me a lot longer than expected. I really wanted to be done with this by the end of the year. I don't think that's possible because I don't use as much highlighter as I used to. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I do actually miss the 2016 like blinding highlighter season. I hope that we can come back with that. Don't think we will, but that was like a fun time in our lives. But I feel like I've been making progress on here. The one thing I do regret is not tallying up uses, but I feel like I'm too far in for me to bother tallying up uses now, so I don't think I will do that. But I have made like pretty much good progress, and I feel like every time I do an update you can see a bit of progress anyway. We move over to this lipstick. So this is from Victoria Beckham. It's in the shade Pout, and I've had it in since the start of the year, but I have been trying to pan it since 2025 as well. So a lot of the products from like other project pans just got brought into here because it kind of made sense for me to do that because there's already progress on here. And this is one lipstick that I'm going to be trying to focus in on getting panned by the end of the year. That's literally all I have left. I actually really love this color. I will just wear it now. Not that it goes with my look because it's more like warm toned, but that's okay, I don't really care. That's what it looks like, and I actually really love this color, and I tend to always gravitate towards this whenever I go to like Pakistani events or like South Asian events and weddings. So for Eid, for both Eids this year and also the 2 weddings that I've attended so far, I have actually, did I attend 2 weddings? Yes, I did. For the 2 weddings, I've definitely worn this, and I'll top up with this too. And it's been a really good, like, solid product. And I love the lipstick shade in this. I think I will repurchase this one again. Obviously not right now because I have enough lipsticks as it is. But I do love the formula of this, and the packaging I think is really easy to travel with as well, especially when I'm going to like weddings and events. I'm carrying like a really small bag, and this one actually fits really nicely in there. So yeah, I really like this. I have made progress as well though. Progress has been slow, so it's not that obvious, but this is where I was at the start, and that's how much I have left now. So I don't think this product will be here forever, but I think this will take me till the end of the year too. So yeah, it's another like long haul product, but that's fine because I am actually looking forward to being done with some more lipsticks. And I don't really want to roll any more in because I do have some in of the other 2 project pans. I feel like it'll be too many lip products to pan at once, and as much as I'm kind of glad that I did roll in the 2 different project pans, sometimes I do regret my decision because I'm like, am I actually really that capable of panning all these things? But then that's like a self-imposed issue, so yeah, I guess I gotta work on that. But I am glad though that there is progress being made, and because it's my favorite lipstick at the moment, I don't really want to use it up completely, so I'm kind of like using it as and when I kind of really have to, because I want to like make it last as long as possible. But that's also silly because eventually this will expire regardless, and if this one doesn't expire then my other products will, so I don't really know. But also because of the other project pans, this one matches quite similarly to another lipstick and actually another lip pencil that's in here, so it's a bit silly that I have so many similar shades, but it's fine, it's okay, because I will end up panning this, just not in the next few months. I rolled in this bronzer in February and I've been using it since then, and I actually hit pan quite quick. I'm actually at a point where I'm getting really frustrated with this though, because as great as it is that I've got all this progress, one thing I found though is where the bronzer is in these like dips, the product actually keeps breaking. So when I close this, it's making it sort of bounce and then break everywhere, and it's getting messy and it's like mess everywhere. But aside from that, I'm then losing product, and that doesn't really make sense because I actually really like this bronzer, and I can see why they discontinued this packaging, because the packaging is freaking shit. Like, it's actually really jarring, and I'm losing like chunks of product. Like at the moment, you'll be able to see there is some product in here. If I close this properly, that will basically bounce out of the grid and it will just go everywhere. So what I'm thinking about doing is I'm trying to repress this this bronzer into this now that this is empty, and I feel like this would be easy packaging for me to use, and it's a lot smaller as well, because I don't think I have any of the compacts like this. I got rid of one of mine previously, and I guess this is a good time to know that it's important to keep hold of some compacts. Because I don't have any, I think I'm going to just end up reusing this one, because I think I can have this done before the end of the year, but I think I'm going to have to do that. So I'll do like I'll take a picture of this product now, and then I'll take a picture of it once it's repressed into the compact, and then going forward I will just show the pictures of the repressed products from the compact. But I think it is time it's going to have to get repressed, because literally every time I close it, there's so much product breaking and going everywhere, and I do actually like it, and I do want to use it out properly rather than just constantly using the product. But aside from that, it's just mess everywhere. It's mess in my vanity, mess on top of the vanity. The other day I was like taking photos of like a flat lay, and the product had cracked and it had gone on my bed, and I didn't realise, and that's like stained my bed. So yeah, there's just so many issues. So I'm gonna just repress this and say goodbye to this packaging, because it is actually atrocious. In March, I had to roll in a pressed powder, and I decided to go in for this one, but since then I've made a lot of progress. So this is what we're looking like now. I'll try and attach like at least last month's progress photo. Sometimes I'm actually using this a lot, sometimes I'm not really using that much, and there isn't the greatest amount left. I think maybe another like maybe another month, and then I might repress this, just because in that way it'll be easier for my brush to pick up rather than it being like this. But I think this will take me another like 3 months to actually fully use up. The reason I actually pulled this into this project pan is because the packaging itself was quite bulky and I didn't like that. But this isn't like the best powder out there, so I don't think I'd buy it again. I did love the packaging, and honestly the packaging caught me up with this, so I did buy it. But I feel like that happens quite a lot with the Flower Nose products, that you have really cutesy packaging and it gets me every single time. But I'm trying not to do that, and I've made progress on it. It's an okay like powder. I just sometimes forget to use it. Like today I didn't use it because it was like stuck at the bottom of the pile. I didn't really want to move the products around to get this out. But sometimes I use only a tiny bit of it, so it's not the most consistent use, but it would be nice to sort of have this on. And also that does take up quite a bit of chunk of space. That's not really fun. We had some other replacements in April, and it's another Flower Nose product. So this is the Chocolate Shop face palette. This is supposed to have like I think a contour or 2 contours, a powder and a highlight. So that's what it looks like. And initially when I rolled this in, I couldn't figure out if I wanted to pan the entire thing or just pan this giant pan here. And I've decided, after some discussion in the comments as well with some people, really appreciate that, so thank you for that, and also some of my friends over on Instagram, I've decided I'm just going to focus on this product here, because as a big enough product for me to use, and also I have so many of the face palettes in the project pan, as well as some of the highlighters and powders. I don't really want to complicate things for me so much, but I would like to just for now use this up. Obviously once I'm done with other face palettes, then I'm more than happy to go ahead and pan the rest of this. Like occasionally I do dip into the powder and powder and highlighter, so that's fine. So there is some level of progress being made, but not that much, because my main focus is this one here. So it would be nice to eventually pan the whole thing in to use it, but I think for now I'm just going to use one shade, because I think that also takes attention away, or like the the heaviness or the load of this away. So I think that's what I'm going to do for the time being, and I think it's also fine that I'm just going to pan a shade from a palette. I'm just trying to break out of my own like mindset that I have. Like previously I couldn't even pick out a palette to use just one shade, so now I'm trying to like be like, oh no, it's absolutely fine if you just use one shade from one palette and pan something else. Like you don't have to pan the entire palette together. I also pulled in this single shade in April to use alongside with my eyeshadow palette in it, because I really love a shimmery glittery shade like this, and I really love the Glaminatrix Cosmetics formula. I think they're really fun eyeshadows, and this one is no exception at all. I really like this, and I have been trying to use this along with my Revolution palette, and sometimes it's just nice to add a bit of brightness to the look, and it works really well. I know this is more like can be considered more like a bright pink, whereas that palette is a lot more muted and mauvey, but it's still nice and it does work really well with that palette. Since the last update, I've had 3 new uses, which takes the total up to 4, which is not bad. There was already a crack in here, so I'm just like slowly digging my finger on this side to just use it up, because I feel like if I do it anywhere else it might end up breaking the product. So I'm just trying to like focus on like basically here, but then pushing the product back in so it doesn't come out. And I actually really like this. Again, another really long-term product, and I think I might end up pulling that when I pull that out, but I do like this, and I really love the Glaminatrix eyeshadows. They are really stunning, so I'm glad that I am making some progress in that, because I have so many single shadows and they literally live neglected, so it's nice when I do bring some of those in. But yeah, we'll see if I can make any more progress next month on that. I have an actual like face duo or palette that I'm properly panning, or at least trying to pan in here, and this is my last elf palette that I'm panning. I used one up this year, I decluttered one, and now this is the last one left, and I really want to have this done before the end of the year. The blush will not be that difficult for me to pan. It's the highlighter that will take me the longest time to use, which is fine, but I do actually really love the tone of this, and this blush is freaking beautiful. I wish I had more blushes like this in my collection. They honestly look really stunning when I do wear them. I don't know if I've made a video previously using this blush, but if I ever have a picture I will try and insert it somewhere, or try to remember for next time if I can. I really like this, but from what I noted I only had 1 new use, which takes my total to 4, but I think that might be wrong. I think I've actually used this more than once since the last update, so something's gone wrong there. But I do really like this. The only problem I have though is with elf products is when they go past like a couple of months they start to like dry out, and the more they dry out the more the product starts to crack. So I'm really nervous when I hit panning this, because that's when this will start cracking. I will start losing product. So I really do want to have this done, because I mean this takes up such little space, but this was also the one I was looking forward to the most to use up. And it would just be nice to have another empty like this, because I think in total this only has 4.6 grams of product, and the blush I will easily fly through, and I think this would be perfect as well in the autumn when I do more like green grungier looks anyway. So I think I can have this done, but it's just a matter of maybe not running in any other face palettes. I had 2 roll-ins from last month. One of them was this eye pencil. This was part of my 50 Years of Black, and even before last year when I rolled that project in, I was using this pencil regardless. So I've been making progress on here for about 2+ years, I want to say, or maybe 2 years. This is literally the tiniest bit left. I have made progress since I last rolled in, because along with that purple eye pencil, this is my most used one. So you can kind of see here the progress that I've made, and that's actually good for me, because my goal was for this year to use up any products that I've been panning since 2025, and I think this will be another really nice easy win for me, because I do end up using black eye pencil fairly often as well, and it's such an easy one for me to go for too, and I do really love this. So I'm happy with the progress I've made. Hopefully I can actually use it up before the end of summer. I think that'd be really nice, because I do have shockingly quite a few other black eye pencils. I have so many black eye pencils, which is ridiculous. So I really want to just get through the stash that I have, if that makes sense, so that I have less. And honestly I just need 1 black eye pencil at a time. Like that's literally all I need. So I kind of need to get a little bit better at that. Lastly is this item that rolled in. So this is the replacement for my Z Boys lip crayon, and I actually really like this one too. It's a beautiful shade. It kind of reminds me of the Victoria Beckham lipstick, but the only thing with these ones, these are more like they're less opaque, but you can build it up. But the formula of these are really like moisturizing, so I really like them. There wasn't actually, I did use this once or twice, but it's not enough to make a line, so I'm not gonna. But I did use that, and I did actually really like that one too. And I think this is what my issue is. I don't know why I do this all the time, but I end up pulling in similar shades in my project pan constantly. Like I had 3 blushes that are the same tone in 2 project pans. I have 3 lip products that are the same tone or very similar tone in my project pans. I do that so consistently, I genuinely do not understand. But yeah, so yeah, I don't think this one's gonna get that much use for like some time, but I will see what I can do. But yeah, that's like the main ones. I do, because I have 3 rollouts, I'm gonna be rolling in 3 products, and I don't know if I'm gonna be making a mistake rolling these in, but I guess time will tell. So because I did finish up 2 lip products, I kind of, oops, because I did finish up 2 lip products, I want to roll into to replace it directly. And I like to replace in like for like items. If I use up a lip pencil, I want to replace a lip pencil. If I used up like a liquid lip, I want to replace it in for a liquid lip. And because one of the things I used up was a lip gloss, I'm just going to replace it with this lip gloss. I already made a mark on how much I have. I did use it the other day, but I did make a little marking for how much is left. This is my oldest lip gloss, which is I think from 2020, which is disgusting. I don't know why I still have glosses from that era, so I need to use this. I don't know how this got lost in my collection, but it does work fine, and there was no reaction or anything like that. So I'm gonna use this, and I will keep this out as like my main gloss up in my room whenever I sort of want to use it. And I do sometimes use gloss as like a replacement for like lip balms and stuff, so I'm pretty sure this won't take me that long to use. And I use this like twice, and there's already like a dent in here, so I'm pretty sure I can fly through that product. For the liquid lipstick, I'm bringing in another liquid lipstick, and this is from Linda Holberg. This is the shade Deep Nugget, and I really love this. I think this is perfect for when I do my like cool tone looks or like my grungy looks. I don't think this is too cool tone. I think this might end up putting warm on me, but I think this will be really fun when I do my green eyeshadow or when I do my like grungy looks, because I think it's like a perfect shade for that. And I accidentally got a duplicate of this product. I did a Linda Holberg purchase last year, and I accidentally bought the same shade, and I don't know if that's just because I forgot that I already had this, or maybe I picked something else and I accidentally ordered that too. But because I have 2 of these, I want to roll in the older one I have to use, and I want to use up the whole thing because I actually really like the shade, and I think I can actually use that. And I think this also is one of my oldest liquid lipsticks, so it kind of makes sense for me to like roll it in anyway. And I think this may be from 2021 or 2, so it's not the oldest, but it's still quite old. So yeah, this is going to be the other lip product that I use. And then for the final products, I don't know if you guys are shocked, you might call me silly, and I might regret this decision, but I've decided to roll in another blush. And this is a powder blush. It's a very similar tone and same issue that I'm having as the Flower Nose one, and I thought it kind of just made sense for me to sort of roll it in, because it might mean that I can then pan another blush before the end of the year, and if I can, I think that'd be quite amazing. But this is from Burberry. I got this second hand from someone, and the shade is Misty, and it's like a really nice like cool toned blush. My issue is though, I do need to pack this on quite a bit, but also I don't like the pan in here because my brush doesn't always fit in here properly, and the pigment doesn't really show up on my face. So I really want to pan this one, but I think what I want to do is to pot this shade, basically break it up as if I was to repress it and put the powder in this empty packaging. I think that might be something that I do just to make it easier for me to pan, because of how many times I need to go back into this to get colour payoff. For that reason, I think I'm going to roll this one in, and it's also one of my older blushes regardless. And I was thinking about all the blushes that I had, and because this is like an expensive one, I think I kind of want to roll this in, and I did always kind of want to pan this eventually. There was other options that I had, but I'm still panning those as part of my other project pans, and I kind of want to break from those ones for a bit, I think. So for now, I think I will just roll this one in. And also because I do tend to look for like a cool tone powdery blush regardless, and I think this will be a good opportunity for me to try and use it this year, especially with how many like cool tone looks I do tend to gravitate towards doing. And I think it kind of just makes sense for me to do this, but in order for me to actually use it, I am going to have to decant it into this old packaging here, and this was like a loose powder packaging, so I think I'm going to have to do that. I'll try and take a picture of the whole process so you guys can see how much I have, but I think I'll just leave it as like a loose powder because I think that is what will work the best. But please remind me to keep empty compacts in case I ever need them in the future, because I don't really want to be using it as a loose powder, but I don't have any of the packaging to use, so I guess that's what it's gonna have to be. But that is all the update for this month. I don't know why I spoke so much about it, because now my throat hurts and I am really feeling it, but I think that's more just to do with the fact that I'm so tired. But I do feel like I'm making some progress in some ways, and I do think that next month I will have more empties again. I just don't know what exactly they would be. I think I'm really looking forward to being done with my blush. I've had this for some time and it would be nice to have this as an empty, because I do have like other liquid blushes I know automatically that will roll in right after this one, so I'm really looking forward to that. And I think it'll also be nice to just make more visible progress on what I have for now. But that's everything with this update. Hopefully I can actually show you something fun next month progress wise, but I don't know, I guess we will just see. But thank you for stopping by watching this. I'll catch you next week with another video. Bye.